Just about good to go here. Second half action of this opening game of the U18 Atlantic Soccer Showcase. It's the Nova Scotia U17 girls in the blue with white trim taking on the New Brunswick U18 girls wearing the white with black. 2 goals in that first half, both belonging to Nova Scotia. And it was Beatrice Curry tallying both times in the 8th minute and the 28th minute. And that's where we are after one half of play. Nova Scotia leading New Brunswick by a score of 2-0. Scott Squires and the Bella Line TV1 crew, glad to have you along here. We will have all of the action from Raymond Field for this U18 showcase. Action today, of course, tomorrow, Saturday, and then the finals on So just about ready to get underway here in this second half. 2-0 your score. Beautiful Raymond Field on the campus of Acadia University in the Annapolis Valley of Nova Scotia, playing host to this showcase event. Of course, scouts and recruiters from colleges, universities across Canada and the United States here at Wolfville. And of course, watching our Bell Alliance TV1 webcast. Reach out to us on social media via Twitter or Facebook. Use the hashtag TV1. So hashtag TV and the number 1. So it looks like just about ready to go here. And it looks like we may have a change in goal on both sides of the ledger. Looks as though Chelsea Burnham may be in now for New Brunswick and Cassidy Durston for Nova Scotia. Sometimes it's hard to get this information because we don't have a scorekeeper with us and there isn't any in-house announcements being made at field level, so we're kind of relying on visuals as well as any information that we get from the official when it comes to substitutions in and out. But again, we'll do our best to relay the information that is before us. And in the case of New Brunswick, both of their keepers wearing the number 1. So it comes down to, I'm trying to remember if that goalie had that same color jersey on in the first half. Now, if I'm not mistaken, I believe Lauren Bushy had on bright orange. So the goalkeeper now wearing looks to be pink and gray. So I'm going to go ahead and say that that is Chelsea Burnham, even though they're both number 1. Coming in with it now is Claire Smith. Smith has the ball taken away, but she stays on the defensive side of things, tries to force the issue. Nova Scotia looks to move that ball forward. Here's a lead ball now. Trying to catch up to it is Hartland. And Burnham gets there first, but Nova Scotia trying to stretch the field out. Almost got a break chance there. This is Julia Short. Short gets challenged there by her opposite 14, Fleet. So the two 14s come together, and it's Nova Scotia who comes away with the ball. New Brunswick now, gentlemen, works it back, and then Sylvie Fecteau, the captain of this New Brunswick side, gets it back to the keeper. Godet again goes back to Chelsea Burnham. Ball forward there, picked off by Nova Scotia. They try to turn with it. Play comes out over that 40-yard marker now, and again ahead for Claire Smith. Smith challenges along that sideline, and the ball goes out of bounds. Give a hello to Megan Smith. Megan tweeted out saying she's watching for her little sister, number 18, Claire Smith. She's watching in Moncton, New Brunswick, and she says, "Go Team New Brunswick." Well, Megan, you've seen your sister a couple of times. Claire's been involved in the action here a couple of times early on in this second half, has 18 in white. Ball goes back now to the keeper. Nova Scotia trying to turn tide, get it up the other way. Doan on this near side. Pushing it forward there was Harnish. But again, it goes to the keeper, Burnham, and she calmly picks that ball up and rolls it forward for New Brunswick to again go on the counter. New Brunswick trying to get it over midfield. Taylor Green blocked it down there. Over on that far side, it goes out of bounds. And Nova Scotia quickly with the throw-in. Moving it up now for Doan. Alexandra Doan gets challenged there as Bagna forced the turnover. But it goes quickly out on that far side. Second half action here. The under 17 girls team from Nova Scotia leading the under 18 girls team from New Brunswick by a score of 2-0. Both goals coming in the first half. 40-minute halves here. And I know that we're here covering soccer, but because soccer is sometimes known as football, well, that's a good segue to talk about North American football. And because we are at Acadia at Raymond Field, I want to say congratulations to Acadia Axemen's former outstanding receiver, Brian Jones. Jones, as we see that ball into the middle, knocked down there and picked up by Burnham. But Brian Jones, outstanding wideout for the Acadia Axemen in the AUS. Recently, in the last couple of days, during the CFL, the Canadian Football League draft, was drafted 4th overall by the Toronto Argonauts. So extremely proud of Brian Jones and representing the Atlantic University Sport Conference very well. And again, being drafted 4th overall into the CFL by the Toronto Argonauts. And actually, I was talking to one of the coaches for Acadia, Mike Squires, and I was talking to him about Brian, and he actually pointed at him. Brian is still here for about another week or so before he heads up to Toronto to meet with the Argos and all their staff, and he was actually doing sprints around the track here. So maybe at some point this weekend I'll get a picture with Brian, tweet that out. But football of another sort taking place here. This is McIntyre. She moves it over now on that far side. Ball just over center field. Nova Scotia again looking to counter quickly here. Move that ball forward. Up on this near side, Madison Harnish. Harnish dribbles that ball, goes in toward the middle now. Takes over that 20-yard marker. Nice move, goes around everybody into the middle. Quick shot, she scores! Madison Harnish. My goodness, what a solo effort by number 9 in blue as she just shredded through the New Brunswick defenders. Fancy footwork, dribbling the whole way through. And I think at first she might have been just looking to work that ball toward the middle and maybe dump it off for a chance from one of her teammates. But when she saw the opening and saw that perhaps New Brunswick wasn't exactly sure how to handle what she was doing, Madison Harnish just put her head down and went through everybody and finds the back of the goal, and it's 3-0. My goodness, highlight reel goal there. You never know, you might see that highlight on the CTV Morning Atlantic Sideline Scoop with yours truly and Cyril Lunny. Each and every Monday morning at 8:40 Atlantic time, Cyril and myself sit down and talk about all things Bella Lion TV1, local sport-wise. And this coming Monday morning, we'll certainly have highlights and talk about this event. And lots of action to come over the next few days, but certainly a candidate right now to make the highlight reel was that goal from Madison Harnish. My goodness, what an effort. That goal came in the 46th minute. and has extended that lead now to 3-0. Just about 8 minutes gone here in this second half. Our first game of the day, first game of the tournament. Our next scheduled game, 3 o'clock Atlantic time. It's boys action. New Brunswick under 18 taking on Nova Scotia under 17. That action and much more will be live on Bell Alliant TV1. Julia Short now loses it. Ahead for Taylor Green. She catches up to that ball, steps out of the defender nicely. Taylor Green puts it in, and that ball bounces into the arms of Chelsea Burnham, who hangs on to that. But again, nice run, nice effort, nice play by Team Nova Scotia. New Brunswick up over half now. Back to Gentleman. Gentleman tried to put it into the middle. And the challenge there, and the play whistled down, is New Brunswick trying to work that ball toward the middle of the field. But as I mentioned in that first half, Nova Scotia really just clogs up that middle portion of the field from about the 40-yard box in. And talk about really tightening it up. If that ball gets anywhere near the 30-yard line and in, well, Nova Scotia really just kind of clamps down defensively and clogs up that area. And it's been difficult for New Brunswick to try and break through that blue wall on the back line for this Nova Scotia team. Quickly out there was Durston to push that ball forward. Coming up to 10 minutes gone by in this second half. Play into the 50th minute here. 3-0 your score. Nova Scotia with the lead. Emily Bagna. Bagna fighting hard. Got that 1v1 battle going. Bagna, look at her work for that ball for New Brunswick. Great effort by Four in White. Gets it back. Steps awkwardly over top of the ball. Nova Scotia takes advantage of the miscue, and Harnish gets it up toward midfield. Here comes Nova Scotia on the attack again. Tried to get it forward to Fleet. Fleet couldn't catch up to that ball, and it comes back, but again, it's Nova Scotia with it. Harnish scored that lovely goal moments ago. Harnish goes toward midfield, looking for one of her baits to run onto it, but it's New Brunswick who gets there first. Gentleman turns with it now, tries to go up that sideline, but she's forced out of bounds there. Sarah Pittman with the nice defensive play. Just remind you again, you can reach out to us on social media. Use the hashtag TV1. That's TV and the number 1. Ball up over midfield. And again, we've had a little bit of stop and start play here in this second half. Not quite as smooth a flow as we had in the first half. New Brunswick will set it up now for the free kick. Pushed forward to Nova Scotia again. Very aggressive defensively. Look at Taylor Green. All the way from midfield, chasing that ball all the way back and forcing New Brunswick to go back to the keeper and then reset. New Brunswick looked like they were thinking about trying to scoot that ball up the middle and see if Bagna could run onto it, but that didn't work. Jessica Lush now. Lush goes over into midfield. Nova Scotia moves that ball ahead just beyond the reach of Doan for Nova Scotia. Comes there to Short. She gets it forward for New Brunswick. Couple of players collide. I believe that was Smith for New Brunswick and Harnish for Nova Scotia coming together in a tangle of legs, but they both appear to be okay. That stiff breeze continuing to blow here at Raymond Field as Celeste Godet takes that ball low and quickly in toward the 30-yard mark. But Nova Scotia quickly again turn and counter. Up with it is Fleet. Fleet couldn't move it beyond the defense of Kelsey McGinn. McGinn goes down that far right side. New Brunswick taking it deep into the corner, trying to work it over toward the middle, but only Olivia McIntyre there for Nova Scotia. Bagna has been working so hard as number 4 in white, and she falls down there on the defensive effort. Ball down into the New Brunswick zone. Now Nova Scotia onto it first, trying to get something in toward the front of the goal. And again, we see player twisting and turning, and didn't quite catch the number, but the New Brunswick player trying to get back. Kind of got tangled up with the Nova Scotia player and twisted into the end zone. Back line looks to be okay. That stiff breeze continues to swirl here at Raymond Field in Wolfville as Nova Scotia sets for the corner. High lofting ball headed in toward goal and just off to the side. Nice set piece there coming from Nova Scotia, but not able to get the payoff on the back end. Our broadcast location here at Raymond Field, high above the center field marker. Large concrete roof out over top of us, and it's kind of like a bit of a wind tunnel here. The wind just kind of comes off the bay, whips up through the field and right past our position. Hard sometimes not to have that sound of the wind whistling through the microphone. Nova Scotia again working onto that ball. Hartland takes it down deep into the corner. Can she get it across? It's blocked down by New Brunswick. And New Brunswick will look to move it up again to Bagna. Bagna couldn't get it past Lush. Nova Scotia right back the other way with it now. But it's Bagna chasing it down, getting it off there for her teammate Lavoie. Lavoie moves it up over the center line mark. 1v1 battle over there. New Brunswick successful in moving it forward, but it's McIntyre who stops it there. New Brunswick trying to get something into that Nova Scotia end. Ball comes into the middle. Bagna there, and reaching for it awkwardly was Bagna. She almost did the splits as she reached for that ball. Smith tried to get a foot on it. Coming over to help out was Julia Short. New Brunswick desperately trying to get some pressure here and put a ball on goal, but it's Nova Scotia and Harnish who gather it up and will very calmly reset. Right up through the middle. Nova Scotia chips it off there. Smart little ball over for Green. Green puts it into the middle now where it's picked up by Doan. Nova Scotia very methodical now as McIntyre put it over into the New Brunswick end. And it goes out of bounds, and it'll be a throw-in for Team Nova Scotia. Into our 57th minute now. Two 40-minute halves. Nova Scotia solidly in control of this one, leading by a score of 3-0 here in this second half. Nova Scotia again with control. Fleet steps to her right, takes the shot off the crossbar. What a strike from about 30 yards from Fleet. Lightning quick right-footed strike there off 14 in blue, Cara Fleet. And that ball was labeled for the back of the goal, but just a little too much height. It was up over top of the outreached Burnham and right off dead center crossbar. But good news for New Brunswick, it stays out and we stay 3-0. But again, just a gorgeous opportunity there and a lovely strike off the foot of Cara Fleet for Nova Scotia. And just out of our camera view, but down in front of our broadcast position here, number 19, Samantha Gallen for New Brunswick, was getting some work from the athletic therapist. Twins on this New Brunswick team, Samantha and Sarah Gallen, number 19 and 21. Twins. They got the Wonder Twin powers for New Brunswick going here. Ball goes out of bounds. Time continues to tick away here in the second half. Quick throw in. Nova Scotia gingerly plays that ball along the line, pushed forward by Lush. Comes back to Lush again. Lush decides to work it in a little deeper this time. Tried to get into the middle there where Fleet was waiting, but it went beyond Cara Fleet, and Chelsea Burnham will hang on to that ball, and now she'll throw it over on this near side for Julia Short. Short goes back to the keeper, Burnham. Burnham not in any rush. Gets it off there now for Celeste Gaudette. Gaudette moves it forward now. New Brunswick will try to get some pace and get that ball up ahead. That's Bagna. Bagna went to get back to Fleming, but that didn't work, and New Brunswick now will have to watch that ball go out of bounds, and they'll reset. Coach Kevin Talbot, I'm sure, not happy with how things have gone here for his side, not for lack of effort. It's just simply been when Nova Scotia has been given their opportunities, they have capitalized. And on the defensive side, Nova Scotia, again, has just made it so difficult for New Brunswick to get past that back defensive line for Nova Scotia. They've just put a blue wall up back there and have really made it hard for New Brunswick to penetrate through that defensive line. This is Lush now. Bagna creating pressure there for New Brunswick. Over for Doan. Doan gets it up ahead. Left foot forward by Green. Over on this near side now for Harnish. Harnish walks around one defender. Similar pattern as the last time when she was able to walk through everybody and score, but this time New Brunswick shut it down, and away with it comes Claire Smith. Smith, left foot, up to Bagna. Bagna challenged there by Doan, but New Brunswick able to push it forward. Bagna giving chase as Olivia McIntyre decides to take it calmly back to Cassidy Durston. Nova Scotia now again from their back line will set things up. Very calm, cool, and collected now is Nova Scotia. They're not in any rush. Long ball forward down the right side. Taylor Green couldn't catch up. And the ball will turn over now to Team New Brunswick. Scott Squires and the Bell Aligned TV1 crew, glad to have you along for the ride here. We are live from Wolfville, New Brunswick. We're on the campus of Acadia University at Raymond Field. It's the Under 18 Atlantic Soccer Showcase presented by Soccer Nova Scotia. The finest Under 17 and Under 18 soccer players in Atlantic Canada here showcasing their talents this weekend. In essence, Atlantic Canadian All-Star teams. Substitution now coming in for Nova Scotia. Katie Chason into the game, and Beatrice Curry is out. So 6 in and 11 out for Team Nova Scotia. Goal kick. Finds Julia Short. And coming up from behind there with a very hard challenge. Could this be a yellow card? And it is. Referee Ben Hoskins feeling that the challenge from Cara Fleet on the New Brunswick player was a little too aggressive as she tackled and challenged very hard, taking the New Brunswick player down from behind, and the yellow card shown to Cara Fleet. So our first card here of this event. Celeste Gaudette puts that ball in toward the center field area, but Nova Scotia again picks it up. Heartland moved it forward. Nova Scotia now, MJ Miller gets it down that left side. Nova Scotia running onto that ball. You've seen this tactic several times through the game. Into the middle there and headed away at the last minute. Smartly there. From the back end, put forward by Alexandra Doan, and that ball goes out of bounds. Visit bellalliant.ca/TV1 for the webcast and TV schedule, as well as on-demand content. You can also get information on live events available only to Bell Alliant Fiber Op customers in Atlantic Canada on Channel 1 and 401. Bell Alliant, there's more to love with Fiber Op. Turning with it now is Harnish. Harnish scored that lovely solo effort goal earlier in this half in the 46th minute. Little miscommunication there, but Nova Scotia recovers quickly. Lush steps around one defender, gets it over on this near side. This is Harnish again. Ball up ahead. And play whistle down. 16:20 left on the clock here. Again, Nova Scotia has this one well in hand. 3-0 your score. Chelsea Burnham will put it into play. Trying to go up high to head that was Lush. It went over top of her. And again, player making contact with it, so it's whistled down. Ball goes out of play. Referee calls for a new one. Nova Scotia with control again. And there's Emily Bagna. Everyone's trying very hard, wanting to make an impression and play well, but certainly number 4 in white has been a standout for New Brunswick as she's in again, sniffing around the front of that Nova Scotia goal. So I've been saying Cassidy Durston, but I guess I just did catch the number on the back of the Nova Scotia keeper. It is indeed still number 30, Caitlin Fines. So I thought that both teams had made goalie substitutions to start this half, but it does appear indeed that Caitlin Fines still the keeper of record for Team Nova Scotia here, and she's got a clean sheet going as this Nova Scotia squad leading 3-0 here. A little bit of time being taken on this throw in for Nova Scotia. Right along that line on the far side, several players in, digging for it. And again, it goes out, so kind of choppy play here the last little bit. Nova Scotia works that ball free. Tried to get it up ahead. Good defensive play by New Brunswick as they look to move it up the other way now. And Smith tried to work around the defender, but it was kicked out of bounds, and substitution again. Coming in here for New Brunswick this time, it's Madison Hill, number 15, checking in, and coming out of the game, number 21, Sarah Gallen. So 15 in, 21 out for Team New Brunswick. Nova Scotia, again, typically coming out on top of the 1v1 battles in this match. Hartland gets it forward. Good job there by New Brunswick covering up Smith. Steps around Harnish with a nice move. Smith has another defender come over now. Helping out there was Miller. But it's Smith again coming in with it. Smith smartly puts the back to the defender. Gets around one defender, but again, Nova Scotia helping out. Doan comes over. Doan into the middle again. Stepping up to get it forward there was Fleming for New Brunswick. New Brunswick thought they had a chance in toward the middle, but again, Nova Scotia closes up shop and blocks things down on that back end. Challenging over on that near side, or far side, Nova Scotia comes away with it. They try to put the ball over in toward the middle. New Brunswick closes that down, and they'll go back to the keeper now and regroup. On this near side, Short. Smith comes over to help out. Short gets it ahead to that back line. Lush back foots it now, steps around, dribbles with that ball now, gets it back. And Nova Scotia took it over toward the middle, and they'll do the same thing New Brunswick did moments ago. Back to the keeper and reset. Nova Scotia fine, I would say, just to let the last 11:53 tick off of this clock in this half and take the victory in this opening match. New Brunswick continuing to push ahead. And a collision there as Bagna and Lush came together. And Lush still down in behind the play, number 2 in blue for Nova Scotia. Jessica Lush took the worst of that collision between herself and Emily Bagna for New Brunswick. Lush up, still seems to be not quite steady on her feet, but she's back into the play. Looks to be all right and recovered. Down goes another Nova Scotia player. Fleet hitting the turf that time. Miller moves it forward. Nova Scotia again now. Hartland puts that ball right in toward goal. And again, with that wind swirling, it can be a little bit tricky to get a beat on that ball as the wind has picked up once again. Nova Scotia, this is Lush. Looks to have shaken off that collision moments ago. Ball up high to the air, moved forward. Now there's Bagna getting challenged by Lush from behind. Bagna, a little bit of hand checking going on there between Bagna and Doan. Bagna, nice ball through. Can Smith run onto it? Smith trying to get there, but it's Harnish who reaches it first as Bagna put that ball through. And a nice effort there as Claire Smith tried to run onto that ball, but couldn't quite catch up. Bellaline TV1 is proud to be the official webcaster for the 2016 U18 Atlantic Soccer Showcase from Raymond Field on the campus of Acadia University in Wolfville, Nova Scotia. Bell Alliant, there's more to love with fiber optic. So less than 10 minutes to go now in this half. Nova Scotia with the comfortable 3-0 lead. New Brunswick with the free kick now, and not quite the same position, but this was where Nova Scotia, similar position, a little better for Nova Scotia when they scored on their free kick, but with this wind swirling the way it is, let's see what New Brunswick can do here. Ball put over into the middle, several players going up for it. In particular, Fleming tried to get ahead on that ball, couldn't get it, but a nice free kick in. New Brunswick looking to get that ball again inside that 20-yard area and try to make something happen here. This is Lush with it. Or excuse me, that's Fleet. Fleet gets that ball, chips it up the right side to Hartland. Hartland can't catch up. And it's Burnham. As I would say, if I had a sail, I would probably make it to New Brunswick with the wind blowing here right now at Raymond Field. Burnham gets it forward. And I'm going to have to question my Weather Network app, because I would have to say that the gusts right now are a little stronger than 28 kilometers an hour. That's just my guess, but being a Newfoundlander from St. John's, where it's windy a lot, I kind of know my wind. I'm pretty sure this is stronger than 28 kilometers an hour. A couple of substitutions coming in now for New Brunswick. Number 8, Christine Lavoie. And number 16, Grace Power. Going out of the game, Claire Smith, 18, and Emily Bagna. And it's great to see Claire Smith into the game. Her sister Megan says this is Claire's first game in a few months. She had her arm cast removed a couple of weeks ago, and only got the okay from physio just 3 days ago to play. So that's gamesmanship right there, and good on Claire Smith. Only got the cast off a couple of days, or a little while ago, got clearance just a couple of days ago to be able to play, and here she is in Wolfville, Nova Scotia, playing a very good half for New Brunswick. Was Claire Smith 18, and her teammate Emily Bagna, certainly a force to be reckoned with for New Brunswick as well, but at least right now, just not the result that they've been looking for. Ball chipped forward. This is Fleet. Steps it nicely, goes around the defender. Fleet, and certainly will be called for that, as Fleet made the nice move initially to get around the defender, but then as she dug in for the ball, dropped the shoulder, threw it into the New Brunswick defender, took her down, and play was whistled down. And you see now Hoskins over having a quick little word there with Kara Fleet. New Brunswick trying to work with that ball. Lavoie just checked into the game. Lavoie, Sylvie Facteau loses the ball to Miller. Miller gets it over there, and pushing it forward was Fleet to Hartland, but the play got whistled down again. Play now very late into this second half. Into our 72nd minute here. New Brunswick, I think more than anything, would just like to have a moral victory and perhaps put a goal on the board, something positive to build on going into the rest of this tournament. But again, Nova Scotia has just been so stingy on the defensive end of things. They've really played a strong game on that back end, not allowing New Brunswick, any real kind of opportunity at all. Burnham gets that ball just about to midfield, but getting there first was Madison Harnish. Doan goes to their back line. Lush, those bright red kicks, or orange I should say. Easy to see from up here. Always enjoy seeing the different style cleats and soccer boots that these players wear. Oranges, bright pinks, whites, yellows. Kind of reflection of the player's personality sometimes, I find. Long shot off the left foot, crossbar and down. My goodness, what a strike there from Nova Scotia. I didn't catch the number, but seemed to be just a slow play developing, and then the next thing, the Nova Scotia striker just launched into that ball, and Burnham, tracking it the whole way, went sky high into the air, but again, second crossbar of the game for Nova Scotia. Nova Scotia has put on quite a display of striking here in this game. Another one from long range off the top of the crossbar and wide. Burnham got herself in a shooting gallery in goal for New Brunswick right now. This Nova Scotia side, not shy at all about taking that ball from distance and just directing it in toward goal. 20, 30-yard strikes, and the accuracy is there. And on a couple of occasions this afternoon, the crossbar has been New Brunswick's friend. But just sharp, crisp strikes from this Nova Scotia side. New Brunswick, again, in their own end. And again, if you could look at territorial percentages, I would be safe in saying, I believe, that the majority of the territorial play has been in the New Brunswick end. New Brunswick forcing the issue just a little bit there, forcing Fines to play that ball forward. Full marks to New Brunswick for keeping going here, keeping the play going forward as much as they can. But again, Nova Scotia not laying back on this 3-0 lead. They have not really gone into a defensive shell. They've continued to push forward, as you see here. Coming in is Fleet. Fleet tried to step around the defender. She had Harnish with her on the right side, but New Brunswick covers up. A couple of players come together there, and the ball goes off of the foot of Doan and out of bounds, so it'll be a throw-in for New Brunswick. The ball's lofted into the air. Lush turns away from the pressure of Gentleman. Or excuse me, that's Lavoie. Harnish. Back to Lush. Lush. Nice footwork from Lush. Soft little pass up ahead now, and it's Harnish. Harnish steps around the pressure of Lavoie. Nova Scotia again, can they get that ball forward? I think they might have been looking to get MJ Miller in the open, but the ball goes a little too far, and New Brunswick will regroup and move that ball forward. Last minute and a half now, 90 seconds left. Ball comes to Lush. She put it forward. New Brunswick will turn with it now and regroup into their own zone. Back to the keeper, Burnham. Burnham, under some pressure there from Hartland, will kick it forward. New Brunswick circles with it. They move it up. Smart little ball forward there, but again, Nova Scotia, they see the ball and they swarm to it immediately. Very aggressive play on both sides of the ball from this Nova Scotia side. They've come out, put the pressure on, and have not relented whatsoever. This New Brunswick side has been feeling the pressure of this Nova Scotia attack throughout. And Burnham collides with Hartland there as Hartland was in again pressuring for Nova Scotia. Last half minute to go now in this game. Team Nova Scotia looks to be very comfortable now in terms of chalking up a victory in game one of this event. We'll see how much extra time will be added on. Of course, that's up to the referee's discretion. Head referee Ben Hoskins surveying things. Takes a look around. Time is off the clock now, so it's completely into the referee's hands. And referee Ben Hoskins feels no need for extra time. 3 blasts of the referee's whistle, signifying the end of this game. Well, a good effort from both teams, but just a little too much from Nova Scotia, at least in this fixture, as the Nova Scotia U17 girls side full marks for a very strong performance. A couple of goals from Madison Curry and a single marker from Madison Harnish. And the teams now will line up and shake hands. But that takes care of game one of this U18 Atlantic Canada Soccer Showcase. On behalf of Ron McDonald and the crew from Bell Alliant TV1, I'm Scott Squires. Thanks for watching. We'll see you at 3 o'clock Atlantic time for our next game. It'll be boys action, New Brunswick under 18 taking on Nova Scotia under 18. Again, we'll be back with you on the webcast 3 p.m. Atlantic time. Until then, thanks for watching. Again, your final score, Nova Scotia U17 Girls 3, New Brunswick U18 Girls 0. We'll be back at Raymond Field in about half an hour.